Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll show you how to create and integrate Zapier integration with your web application using webhooks and APIs. So this video is going to be very straightforward, and in this video, I'll going to cover authentication and triggers. Here I created a Zapier Connect application for this video. Firstly, the API key will be generated, and after that the webhook URL will be set up. Then the email will be sent to the Zapier, and Zapier will automate to the applications like Google Sheet, MailChimp or any other provider. So let's get a start with the Zapier. As you can see that this application is on localhost to connect uh, Zapier. To connect this application, I taken ngrok. So this is ngrok provides me the connection of HTTPS so that I can connect with Zapier. So firstly, you need to create your account on zapier.com, then navigate to developer.zapier.com, and here you have to create your new integration. As you can see that I have already created webhook receiver, so you have to create your new integration. So here you can see that on clicking platform UI, I can create a new integration. You have to implement here basic details of your app. In your case, as a new user, you will get here the button to create a new integration. Now on clicking this application, let me show you the basic details I have implemented. You can see that the webhook receiver, then the description, and then you have to save it. Your Zapier integration will be created. Now let's move to the basic setup. So here to create an integration, you need to set up here authentication, then triggers, actions. So in this case, actions will be not covered. So I'm going to set up here authentication and triggers. Zapier integration using a UI version, that is this one. Also you can create using the CLI version. So there are two options here. I'm covering using the UI version. Now let's move towards the authentication. Now there are multiple ways of authentications. You can see that the API, OAuth, session, basic auth, digest auth. Here I am going to select API key authentication. Now on clicking API authentication, let's save it, and now we have to configure our API key. Here you can see that we have to add our fields. So let's add a field. Now let's move to the application. In your application, this is depends upon your application. In my case, I am sending API key in body. You can send it in headers or params. This is according to your application. So I will copy this field. Now let's move to the UI, and here you have to paste the key. This will be same as in your application. Now label that will be displayed to the user. Now you have to put it yes, because this check is very important, so that when you authenticate user using a Zapier, you get the option input box for the for putting your API key. Now choose here is string. Now help text input. These are the optional inputs. Now let's add it. After adding, you can see here the first step is completed. Now let's move toward the step 2. Now here you have to paste your endpoint. So in my case, you can see here in the API documentation, I have to authenticate the connection. So for that, there is a post method called API authenticate. So I will copy this. So firstly, I will copy the URL of my backend, and then let's paste it here. After that, I have to write a endpoint authenticate. So this is the endpoint, and the method is post. Now let's see the options here. Here you can see that the request body, URL params, HTTP headers. So according to your need, you have to set up here. If you are sending API key, like if you are receiving API key in params, then you have to put here. If you are sending API key in like a header, so this is according to your need. Advanced setting, you can move towards advanced setting and see. Let's save it first, and then advanced settings, you can Set the advanced setting by default. This will be like common for all authentication kind of that. After that, so here I am passing API key to the request body, so I can also, this is very important, bundle dot auth data dot API key. So every like the field you created, the key will be pasted here, like the if you have a API key like this, or a API key underscore key like this. So this is according to your need. In my case, this one. Now, as you can see that I am sending in body, so I will select this one only and I will remove all of it. Now let's save it. Let's move to the authentication API key. Now it's time to test our authentication. In the step 3, I have to test. So here you can create your new account, and then here I will generate the API key. Here you can see the API key is generated. Now copy this API key. Let's move to the UI and paste it here. Yes, and continue. So now let's see here. So the authentication is successful. You can test it here. Okay, request successful. So now here this is due to the application bug. Okay, if I will refresh, generate new. So this is due to the bug, but it is connected. Let me show you again. Test authentication. This is true. So this is kind of bug in my application. So this is my fault. And sorry for that. And let's see the response here. Console. So nothing is here. So now the authentication is built. Now let's move toward the triggers. See, trigger get or read data from your API to start workflow. This is like the entry point for the automation. So let's add a trigger. Now here you have to add a key field, like in my case I have to send email, so kind of send email. Okay, email, then label, send email. Noun, you can set like email, anything. Trigger description, so you have to set up here description, like in my application this is for email, like it will like depend upon your application. I'm just putting here random description, and after that save and continue. So once we are done with the basic information about the trigger, now let's move toward the input designer. So here we have to add here the fields, like these are kind of optional. If you required, then you have to enter here, and you can see here this will be the preview. If you enter any of the detail like the input fields, then it will be shown here. In my case it is not required. Then move towards the API configuration. Here you can see that there are 3 steps: configure your API request, test your API request, define your output. Configure your API request, this option, this is very kind of like a optional step. If you required, then you can set up like here REST hook or polling. Let me introduce about these terms. So here you can move to the docs. Now you can see here polling trigger. So polling trigger is like the endpoint that will be triggered every configuration, like the 1 to 15 minutes. This will depend upon your settings, so it will be called every 1 to 15 minutes, like the every interval. And rest hook trigger is like whenever your trigger will be called, then this rest hook will also be invoked. So in this way, term, uh, these both methods works. Now let's move toward the step 2. Here you can see that there is the connection, so we can test it from here. Okay, now let's see it. Test authentication. Request failed. Send email operation. So I will select here polling, and option is selected polling, then it will show me like this, but you have to choose this option and then move forward. So here you can see that it is showing me create a zap. Now define a output. So output will be like the, let me show you the output. Here I tested before, so let me show you the result. So this is my result. When I will send here email using this route, so this data will be passed to the webhook. Now let's copy this and add to the JSON data, and here, so you can see here that this is not a valid, just because so here you can see that this is not a valid JSON. So I formatted here the JSON. Now let's generate the output fields. So these fields will be displayed to the users, so that users will get to know about the inputs that are received by the webhook. Now let's save it here. Here you can see that trigger has been updated. So now our Zapier integration is created. Now let's move toward the Zap. Here you have to move to the zapier.com and then Zap. So now here you have to select your trigger. So trigger is your integration you have created. Here in my case, this is webhook receiver. So I will paste here. Here you can see that the webhook receiver is created. Now we have to select here the trigger event. In my case, trigger event is this. Here you can see that the label is shown, also the description. So these both are kind of very important for showing the users about how the, like, what trigger is doing. Now select it. Here you have to select your account. Once your account will be selected, now continue. Here you get the webhook URL. Now copy this webhook URL and paste it in your Zap, Zapier Connect, like in my case, the application in my app. Once the application is connected, now let's test trigger, test. Okay, nothing I received because I haven't called this. Now let's put here the detail. Webhook URL not configured. Again, this is my application bug. Here you can see that the email data sent to Zapier. Now let's test it. Test trigger. You can see that the data received. Here you can see that the vivo.institute@gmail.com webhook. The message is this, and then timestamp. Now you can see that the records are received. Now let's go to the app. Here this is the action. Before we have created the trigger will be set by our integration, that is in my case webhook receiver. Then we have to select here the action will be this is again according to your need, like it will be MailChimp or any provider. In my case, I'm selecting here Google Sheet. Then let's go to the Google Sheet. Here I will select here create spreadsheet row, then Google Sheet. You have to connect your account. Now here I will select a blank spreadsheet, and then I will name it Zapier Connect. Then let's see the data fields here. That is recipient. Also you can check from Zap, you can move it here, and then let's see recipient, subject, message, timestamp, query, string. So this is not sent by me, this is by the webhook. And so let's copy this recipient, paste it here. Okay, so we are done with this process. Now let's make it bold. Now once your headings are set up, now let's move to the Zapier here. Now continue, select here, then continue, choose your spreadsheet. So let me select my Google, and then my Google Drive here, Zapier Connect. You can see you will there are list of all your Google Sheets. Then Zapier Connect. Choose your worksheet. In my case, this is sheet 1. Here you can see that this is sheet 1. Now here use time zone, you can set it according to your need. Then recipient, so you can see here the headings are received just because we have set here. Now let's see Zapier. On selecting forward button, you can see that we have to set a recipient, then subject will be this one, and then message. Continue, you can test it from here. Let's see the data. Oh yeah, the data is received. Now let's publish this. So finally the Zap is created. Now, so now let's test our application. Here you can see the webhook URL. Let's add here the new ID like Zapier Connect. Let's send email. You can see the data is sent. Now let's see here. Oh yeah, the data is received. Finally, we are done with the integration. So today we have set up the Zapier integration with our application. So this is kind of a big achievement. So today what we covered, firstly, how to create an integration, in that authentication process, and then the trigger, and also we done how to connect our app, and then automate our work, and then sending data to the Google Sheet. So I hope you learned something new today. And if you found this video helpful, so hit the like button, also subscribe our channel for the future updates.